welcome back to ShePropTalk. I'm Beverly from Downen Creative Studios, and with me today I have the one, the only Becka Noel. Welcome. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk about crop stuff and all the things, and yeah.
I know, and I'm just excited to be talking to you, like actually talking to you, because the last time, so I was at New York Comic Con and I saw you from afar doing a panel. I was like, oh, there's Becka Noel. Cool. Maybe she's got like a booth here. Yeah. And then I saw by your booth and I was loitering for quite a while. I'm sure the people that were there were like, what is this girl doing?
Like,
she's just hanging around. And then when I was like, I'm just going to take a weird picture selfie of me like next to the poster of them. And they were like, okay, weirdo, fine. Yeah, that was a little, that was pretty funny. I'm glad I did that.
They're like, Becca, you have a lot of weird cosplay friends.
I know they should probably be used to it by now, right?
But I mean, the same thing happened to us because I was like, oh yes, Beverly is going to be at New York Comic Con. I'm so excited. Oh my God, so excited. I have to like meet her in person. And then, of course, didn't see you like all weekend.
Busy.
And then we go over to the booth and there's Hella. Beverly's not there. So, and I had just seen your picture and I was like, oh, let's take a picture with Hella.
Oh my God. Well, that was hilarious. That was really funny. If only we could have like met in person. So yeah, you had a booth you were working at a booth at New York Comic Con. Mm-hmm. And you work for the Manhattan Wardrobe Supply.
Yep. So I work at Manhattan Wardrobe Supply. So really wordy, lumpy words. It's a store in Manhattan. It's been around for 20 years. Just had our 20th year anniversary this year. And it's amazing. It's like totally unique store. There's nowhere else like it in the country. And it supplies the theater, film, TV industries. And then we're also open to the general public. We met the owners about a year and a half ago now, and they were looking to get into the cosplay community and bring some cosplay supplies into the store. And just, I guess by fate, brought us together. And so now I teach classes. I'm working with Worbla here, and I also work on my costumes here. So it's really good kind of partnership we have going on.
That is so great. So you have a space to work on your costumes. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, like, how do you deal with working on costumes in New York? And like, I don't know where you live or how big your space is, but I can only imagine that it must be kind of tiny.
Let me tell you,
as all of them are. So you teach classes. Are they regular classes? Are they classes that people can sign up for?
Yeah, the classes are they're workshops, and they're for beginner, intermediate, and advanced worbla. Mm-hmm. So if you've never used worbla before, and you're just some person who's saw classes online and you don't know anything about that material and you want to come in, we're open to you. If you have been working in the entertainment industry for 20 years and you're a master wardrobe or costume designer, you can come in and take the class. It's really awesome because you meet a lot of different people, and to me, it tells me that everybody's interested in this material, and the cosplay community is getting bigger, and people are knowing about things that we use, and we're getting to know about things that they use. And if anything, being here and teaching classes has just like broadened my horizons, getting to meet all these different people.
God, I bet. So you must be like the numero uno expert at worbla. So I should be asking you questions. I actually do have a question because I saw that you so you made an original Storm costume and you used some pearly worbla with that. And I've never worked with pearly worbla. First of all, that costume was amazing, and I love that you did your own design. I think that's, oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous. I love the bold lines and the bold shapes, and it just like comes together so well as a costume. I just love it so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
But you use pearly worbla.
Yeah.
Is there a difference with?
It's a little bit different. For me personally, I find it, first of all, it's smoother. It's way smoother than original worbla.
Mm-hmm.
I find that it's harder to stick together. It doesn't stick as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to make sure you're heating it enough so that it really bonds. But it's really great for detail stuff. You can carve into it and get some really nice, crisp, clean lines, which is amazing. And I've used it in Storm, and then I used it in a white, like pearlescent breastplate I made last year.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly for the color because it was going to be white anyway. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to use.
Right. Right.
But it's fun. If I'm needing more detail and need it to be smoother, I'll use white or black worbla. And
So is it different from black worbla? Is it just a different color, or is there a difference in the texture and the smoothness, or?
there's a slight difference in the texture. The black is right in between white and original in terms of texture. So it's smoother, but it's not as smooth as the white. It's also a little bit stickier, and it has like some grains to it. Pearly worbla doesn't have any grain, and the black does. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, I can't wait to try it out. I've been wanting to. I just haven't gotten any worbla for a while. Well, very cool.
Oh my, yeah, because you're working in
with
Thebra.
Yeah,
it's Thebra.
As far as I know, the marketing person said Thebra. That's what she's been calling it. So that's what I'm going to call it. Thebra. But yeah, that's
hard to use.
I found that it picks up detail so well that it's really what I like to use it for. Like it's not so much for covering large smooth areas. It's for picking up the tiny little details that you want to pick up, and then you don't really have to prime it or sand it or anything because it's already smooth. Mm-hmm. So that's really, I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, what you're doing looks amazing.
Thank you. Well, I've been using silicone press molds, and part of that is because I want to show people not how easy it is, but how accessible it is. Mm-hmm. Because I've just been using silicone candy fondant molds for all of this stuff, so it's something mm-hmm. that someone else can go out and get the same thing and then do something similar.
Yeah. Silicone is like, it's amazing with worbla and Thebra. I use the press molds too, actually. I have one right here.
Oh, cool. What is that for? Oh, that's pretty.
It's just like a test piece. I'm just to like hang out in the store. There's some other ones here. I didn't have these just handy here for like this. They're just like.
Have you been preparing for this podcast? Tell the truth.
Oh my God. Just happen to have them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, silicone molds are awesome.
Well, we share a similar educational history past.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. I was very excited when I heard that you also attended Pratt Institute of Art and Design. When were you there?
I was there in 2005, 2004.
Okay.
2003, 2004. Yeah. Oh.
Oh, girl. Well, back when I was there, it was a very different place. There were like no computers. Nobody had cell phones.
Did you guys have the engineering room? Is it the engineering room where they have like the big old like steam pipes? Yeah. Yes. And it was like the Pratt Pratt cats
were? Yes. Oh my God, I love the Pratt cats. I would go there and get in there whenever I could because I just loved them. I just loved hanging out with them. Yeah. And every time I'd go by, I'd make a point of walking by just to see, one or two.
Yeah, you'd always see one or two.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Aww.
So awesome.
It's
still there.
That's so great.
Know.
Yeah, I'd love to go back and visit, but
I know.
One day.
I haven't been back in so long. I haven't even been back since after the fire I told you about in the main building, which is crazy. I don't know how that happened, but
insane.
Yeah.
maybe some turpentine got too close to something else that's flammable up there.
Those crazy artists during the 24-hour drawathon,
Yeah.
crazy things can
Oh
happen.
my gosh. Well, we had so the ID students, which was the program I was in, our
Hmm.
studio, and I don't remember the name of the building. It might not even be there now, but it was like up by the wood shop. It was pretty close.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, maybe it was in the ID building, whatever that one's called. I cannot believe that things didn't burn down. I mean, probably just because it's like a brick building, but oh my god,
Yeah.
oh my god,
I'm
it's
surprised
a
there wasn't a
miracle.
fire earlier. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
absolute miracle. Those were some good days. And I feel, do you feel like that experience gave you, I mean, you're an artist. Um, anyway, like your illustrations that I've been seeing that you post, thank you for posting those because they're beautiful. And I love seeing that there's like,
yeah,
there's an inner artist in all of us. And it's not necessarily like, oh, hey, I'm going to make a
totally.
costume and now I'm a cosplayer and a lot of us
Yeah.
have an artistic
Yeah.
background that doesn't really
Uh-huh.
come through that much. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
I
I
love your illustrations.
thank you. I
Yeah.
totally think like there's so many more artistic, creative people in our community than we even realize because
Hmm.
it's just like hiding in there. And then you see somebody do something and you're like, whoa, I didn't know you could do
Right.
that.
Right. Or they incorporate some crazy element into their costume. Like, well, yeah, I've got like
Hmm.
a engineering degree and,
Yeah.
rocket science or something. I don't know. Like,
Jeez.
what? That is so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. So you were there for illustration or fine art or
No, I um
well,
I
I
actually was
totally
there
wrong.
for I okay, so well, first of all, I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. And I was trying to defy my parents who have always they're like my biggest cheerleaders. They pushed me in the arts and they really wanted me to go to Pratt and like they have always been like in my corner, right? But I never really rebelled as a kid until I got to college and then I was like,
Mhm.
I don't want to do what my parents want me to do. And I knew they wanted me to be really creative and do something like illustration or drawing, painting. So I wrote my three top major choices, which were drawing, drawing, jewelry design, and one that had nothing to do with anything, which was interior design.
Oh,
And I threw
cool.
them in a hat.
Oh my God. What? That's
And
bananas. Oh
yes,
my
and I
God.
went out, and lo and behold, it was fucking interior design. So
Oh my
I studied interior design for a
God.
semester. Um,
Wow.
and I remember like being in what was it called? Architectural drawing, right? Our
Mm-hmm.
architectural drawing class
Mm-hmm.
where you're just like drafting out on paper. It's
Mm-hmm.
very like mathematical.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but sometimes it would be a little more artistic. And architecture students are not very creative. That was like the only class I did well in because there was actually actual drawing involved and everything else. I was like, all right, I need to get
I'm
out of
out of
this.
here. Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
so I
crazy.
promptly went into jewelry design after that, which is what I like studied in high
Mm-hmm.
school. But at Pratt, the jewelry department was like two classes, so I had just as many drawing, painting, printmaking, sculpture classes as jewelry. So I'm
Yeah.
like, that's a lot.
Wow. I don't know that there was a jewelry department when I was there.
I
That's
don't.
how old I am.
I think
Yeah,
it was.
we were, yeah. Was it pretty new when you were
Hmm.
there? Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, God, if I could like go back there now and have access to those resources, first of all, I'd probably go into costume design because hello.
100% me too.
Yeah. I love it so much. And I'm thankful that for like industrial design, we would go from concept to product or like mock-up product. So having that whole like design process was really really cool, and I loved working in the studio and like having crazy hours with my crazy friends and blasting
Yeah.
music, and then giving a presentation on your product or whatever it is that you designed, and then actually making the models. That was something that I loved. So I
Yeah.
found that became something that I loved doing when I discovered cosplay. It's
Hmm.
like, oh, this kind of feels familiar, making,
Yeah,
making
so
stuff
true.
like this. Yeah, it was very cool.
Uh-huh.
So do you incorporate, I mean, you must, I mean, it's just part of you. Like do you
Yeah.
find yourself like with the jewelry design, like I know you do a lot of your own designs for costumes. Um, that's just part
Um,
of the process.
yeah, I think that like since I'm way more like creative in drawing, painting, sculpture than I am with jewelry. I just did that because I did jewelry in high school,
Yeah.
but I definitely have incorporated everything that I learned in school. And like you're right, when you're in that environment and you're with your friends and you guys are staying up all night in the studio, it's like this crazy all night, like you're working off adrenaline
Yeah.
feeling, and it's
Oh
just
yeah.
so awesome. And I definitely feel that when I'm, like really into a project now.
Hmm.
And since my brain is just always working on like, you know, designing something and how I can incorporate this in here and oh, maybe I could use that. And that's definitely coming through in cosplay. I mean, I would have gone into costume design had I known it was an option.
Right?
I'm so pissed that I didn't.
I know. Me too. Me too, sister. I would go back and do that over again in a heartbeat if I could. I mean, knowing
Yeah.
now that like the creative freedom involved with that, and then also realizing like how much information you're being taught and how wonderful it is that someone is teaching you these things.
God,
Um,
yes.
yeah, that would be great.
Like,
Um,
I would love to just take a basic sewing class because everything I
yes.
know now is just self-taught, but I'm
Yeah.
sure there's an easier, better way of doing things.
Oh, I'm with you there. Well, you've actually have some patterns with McCall's.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You
Are they
do.
foam patterns, or are they also sewing patterns, or both, or
I have a couple of sewing patterns and I have a few worbla armor patterns.
that is so cool. So you do know how to sew.
Well, I mean, I know how
That
to
is
sew, but there's always room for improvement, okay?
sure, 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 sure. Well,
Yeah.
I think that is like crazy cool. If someone is interested in, maybe going down that path, is there a place to start? Like how do you design a pattern like that? Like how is it? I mean, a lot of people are trying to pattern their own stuff, and I
Yeah.
guess what I'm asking is like tips. Like what kind of tips would you share?
Well, um, it's hard. Patterning, at least personally, I think that patterning drafting is the hardest thing to do in costume design. Like that's the hardest part. Once you have the pattern, everything else is like cake.
Yeah.
Um, so when it comes to armor, or I guess even sewing, making a pattern, on yourself, or if you have a body form that's your size and you're making something. I personally use the saran wrap and
Mm-hmm.
masking tape method. You're like drawing it on.
Mm-hmm.
I find that works very well.
Mm-hmm.
And for sewing, I think most of the time they're using drafting paper, pattern paper, basically to do the same thing, or even draping fabric off your
Mm-hmm.
body form and then,
Mm-hmm.
shaping it and pinning it and getting it the right fit there. And then you're taking that initial pattern and reworking it and tweaking it until it's the exact pattern you need. McCall's is interesting because I mean I didn't know this before I did my first pattern with them. I thought that um, I was gonna design a thing out and then give it to them and they were
Mm-hmm.
gonna make it.
Yeah.
Like I actually had to
Oh.
make.
Oh. Oh my gosh. So,
So
oh wow. So you're like, well,
yeah,
what? Wait, what?
yeah. So when they initially contacted me and they were like, we want you to do some patterns, and I was like, great, you guys sew though, and I make armor. And they're like, no, but we saw your pony designs and we love them. Can you do something similar? So I was like, all right, well, let me just draw some little designs up. I think I did three for
Mm-hmm.
them, and they were like, we love this one. all right, can you make that for us and drop it off and blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
What? Oh my gosh. Oh
so
wow.
like, oh shit, now I have to figure out how to make this thing.
Yeah.
So that was
So
interesting.
which one can you tell me which one that was for?
Yeah, and I actually have it
Yeah.
right here. Not because we're doing
Hi, kitty.
a podcast, but it's just, you know,
Once again, you're over prepared, Becca. I don't believe a word you're saying now.
this one.
Oh, I love that one.
So, but this is I mean, the hardest part of this one for me was probably the whatever that is.
The corset?
But
The
yeah,
corset
the
part? Or
corset.
yeah.
Corset, thank you. Because I had previously made a skirt like this for a cosplay that I did by Sakizo a few years prior. And so I was familiar with making this because I had done all this research. I spent
Mm-hmm.
months researching how to make a skirt like this. It was my first sewing project too. It was actually what taught me how to sew was this cosplay.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so it turned out not as bad. I just, I had to figure it out. Like I had to drop it off, so I had to um, pattern on the mannequin and figure. Oh, so cute.
I know that was press. She's like bothering me for food, and I've got a clay sculpture over here that I know she's gonna stomp on like a Godzilla if I don't kick her off. Um, well, that's a really fascinating kind of a story there where they told you that you needed to make it, and then I guess they would
Yeah,
just reverse engineer it and then
yeah, that's exactly.
do it for
So
spec.
all the designers, they design a thing, they make it, and then you give it to their seamstresses. They break everything down and figure it out, and then send it away to uh, their shop in Kansas, and they make all the different sizes.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, it's crazy.
That's fascinating. Well, that is so cool, though. Do you have more patterns that are coming up?
I have one that is not for wearing.
Not
It's
for wearing.
it's more of a prop type.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I think it's so smart
yeah.
that they are getting into the cosplay arena because patterns, like you were saying, once you have a pattern, it's
hmm
like it's
Yeah,
inspiring and it makes it that takes that step out so you can
exactly.
just start
And
making. Oh,
you
that's
can tweak
awesome.
it. And, yeah, you can do many things.
Yeah.
You just have to get that first initial pattern.
Yeah. I made a like a Spartan helmet the other day, and I think I'm gonna turn that into a pattern because I've always wanted a Spartan helmet.
hmm
With a big plume and everything because it's so
Who,
badass.
who doesn't? Yeah.
Exactly. Honestly, if we could walk around with armor on all day long, like in normal life, I would
And a
totally do
cape,
that.
like a big flowy
Yes,
cape.
a huge cape. Yes, and a sword. Actually, these days I would love to have a sword.
Me too.
I
You
would
never know
totally
when
love
you're
to
gonna
have a
need
sword.
one.
Exactly. I'd probably have to take some classes though, like how to actually use the
Like
sword.
use it, not like
Yeah.
kill yourself.
Not just like pose with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Hero
Uh,
poses.
um well, I also love that you do your own designs, but you also so your Valkyrie that you did, was that a collaboration with a couple of other folks or was that your all of your design?
The
Your
my
Evie.
my oh the Eevee.
Yeah.
That was okay, so the designs were collaboration. The idea of blending Valkyries and Eevees was my idea, and I asked
Ah,
my friend Gladzy if she'd be interested in doing this with me, and she was like, "Hell yeah!"
hell yeah.
So that was like a good mix, and so I did the initial designs, and then I handed those off to her, and she oh actually Zach Fisher was also
Oh, okay.
lab, so the three
Yeah,
of
he's
us were
awesome.
yeah, he's amazing. They're both like freaking amazing. Zach did all of the weapons designs for that group. And
Hmm.
then so initial designs were mine, and then Gladzy like added her own little spin on them and then colored them and put them in digital creation world, which I had at the time. never done anything digitally, so that was a godsend because she's amazing.
It takes a village sometimes to group
Yes,
cosplay.
it really it does.
Well, that is awesome. That costume is just, I just love it. I mean, I think I'm like all about the goddess and the Valkyries now, like the female power and the
Yes.
empowerment. It's,
Hmm.
it is amazing. And I get the feeling that that's one of your favorites. Am
Me
I
too. It's
right? Yeah.
top,
Okay.
top, top,
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than like putting on this like badass Valkyrie goddess with like feather headdress and your weapon, and it just feels so amazing.
Oh my God. I bet. Is there a part of that costume that is your favorite?
Probably my props,
Yeah.
actually. My shield and sword. I spent a lot of time detailing the shield, which has all this like really intricate knot work. And um, yeah, and
Well,
there's a lot of colors, and yeah, this is really fun.
it's just gorgeous. I may have stalked your Instagram for all of those pictures, and I think I screenshot like all the Valkyrie pictures. I'm like, I love this so much. But you also make tiny versions of some of these costumes, which is amazing, and I love it so much. I hope you continue to do that because I love seeing those. But yeah, you made a little Barbie version of that.
I
What is the
did.
story behind making the tiny versions? Because I want to hear all about it.
Um, Tiny versions. So when did I start doing that? I started making small versions of things when I made like a regular sized Cubone helmet, and I had some extra worbla, and I was like, I'm gonna make a small version. Because I like tiny. Who doesn't like tiny
Yeah.
things? So I made like a little teeny Cubone skull, and then I
Oh,
made some little cute wolf masks from Kindred from League of Legends, and that's how Tiny started. But I took Tiny to a whole new level when I did Barbie, and that happened when I found out actually one of my coworkers collects Barbie dolls, like vintage Barbie
oh
dolls.
wow.
She's hundreds of them,
Oh my
and
gosh.
she was telling me about this, and we were looking at Barbie's Instagram feed, and there's one called Barbie Styles, and
Hmm.
she has all of these amazing outfits, but none of them are warriors. I know,
Oh,
I
you must have
know.
been like, I have an idea and
Yeah,
it's
I was like, I
perfect.
can help, I can help,
This is a
and
serious problem and it needs to be fixed.
it needs to be fixed. Barbie needs to have a warrior outfit. Come on. So, and then I was like, well, I'm just gonna miniaturize Evie, and um, I decided to do it like exactly, all the details and everything, and then that's how she was born.
I think it's brilliant. It's so awesome. I was looking for screenshots of Athena
Mhm.
just today, and I ran across a Barbie Athena, which is not nearly as cool as the
That's
custom ones that you do. I'm just
cool.
saying. So what ones have you done?
Well, okay, so I have Barbie has her Valkyrie outfit. She also has a Grim Reaper outfit for Halloween,
How awesome is that? What?
and she has
Oh
like a
my
little
god!
what's that called,
Little.
a reeve or whatever,
Oh my god!
and like a
Is it a
little like
scythe?
skeleton mask, a
Oh
scythe.
my
Yeah,
god! I love
she's
that.
got
And all
that.
I'm thinking about right now is Norm Macdonald from Family Guy when that's the Grim Reaper. I'm gonna have to look at that now and get that vision out of my mind. That horrible voice.
Oh my God, exactly. Um, And then the last outfit I made for her is a well, it was going to be the White Witch from Narnia,
Hmm.
but I was working with Flash Shape, which is another like thermoplastic kind of material.
Hmm.
It's more like felt like,
Hmm.
and I couldn't get it to like mold properly, so it ended up more or less looking a little Elsa-y.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Fine. So she turned into like a winter goddess. I'm gonna make her Valentine's Day outfit next.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Oh,
she has to have an outfit for every season now.
well, yeah. That is that is just the best. Yeah, when they started releasing like the Wonder Woman action figures, and
Yeah.
and then they did one for Hippolyta, and I was like, what? They just made an action figure for like a female hero?
Yeah.
Like, what world are we living in? This is amazing.
No. When they
Yeah,
started doing that, I was like, wow.
I know. And I
You-
love seeing them in the stores, and it's just
It's
great.
so cool, right?
Yeah, we need more badass female
I need more.
characters.
It's been too long. I mean, I'm glad it's happening. It just
Yeah, now we
took
need this
them long
momentum
enough.
to. Yeah, I know. So yeah, talking about badass female characters. So do you do mostly original designs, or do you ever look at something and be like, I want to make exactly that thing right there, exactly?
Both. So it's I think probably half and half at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Where I because I love recreating something exactly. So I get like hyper focused on the details, and I
It's
love
like a
like,
challenge.
yeah, it
Yeah,
totally is.
yeah,
It's like, how like good can I make this? So I have stuff that's like that, and then the things that are not like that are basically original designs,
yeah,
which I love making too.
yeah. I've just begun to get into the original design arena, and I like it. At first, I felt kind of like a fish out of water. Like,
Mhm.
I don't have any reference pictures. I don't know what
What
to
do I
do.
do?
What is this supposed to look like? I don't have instructions. Like, I'm used to having
Yeah.
like a ton of reference pictures, and now it's up to me to do it. I'm like, okay.
Uh,
So once I got through those cobwebs of doubt and
hmm
weirdness,
It's
um,
scary.
yeah, it was a little scary, but it was also kind of like, oh my god, I want to do more of this. I mean, I definitely love the replica part of it as well because it's a
hmm
challenge, and
hmm
when you've got like a goal, that I feel like that can sometimes push you to try new techniques and new methods and new materials that you might not use
Yes.
otherwise. Um, but yeah, is there anything that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I actually just started today.
Is it on the table right next to you?
It is,
Of
but
course it is.
I'm
Oh
not
my
going to show
god.
you because it's still in its like tape
Okay.
pattern form. It
Okay.
looks stupid. So we're not going to see that one.
Okay. I'll just tune in and I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it's going to
hilarious.
be for Katsu. It's going to be the group cosplay for Katsu.
Awesome. Is that your next con?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
When is that?
It's in 3.5 weeks.
Oh, just 3.5 weeks. Well, you're like the speed queen, so which I would love to know what your secret is, please.
I don't have one.
Two
I just
weeks.
die.
2 weeks. I just do it. I'm just awesome, and I make all this stuff in
Die.
like 2 weeks. Oh my god.
No sleep, no eating.
Oh,
You you need to lose some weight before a con. Make sure you don't start your costume until 3 weeks before.
jeez. God. So you're just extending con crunch like times 300.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Last year,
Um,
Con Crunch was really fun, and because we did it in the store, and it was the day before we left for the convention, and one of the owners, Cheryl, who is an amazing seamstress, really saved my butt because I made Missandei from Game of Thrones, and
yeah.
it looked like a bag.
Oh. Oh
I made a
no.
bag.
Oh.
So she came in and like stayed and re-sewed the entire dress for me in one night. We didn't leave here until like 6 o'clock in the morning, but it was amazing. And
Oh my
yeah,
god. So I do love those kinds of stories, like the last minute, like the grand finale kind of like miracle. What do they call that?
yeah.
There's a term for it. I'm not going to think of it right now, but it's a sports term, which is why I don't know anything about that
Oh,
term. And yeah, sports
yeah.
mom. Yeah.
But
Whew.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. um, yeah, I was up until 2 in the morning the day before I was supposed to go to Dragon Con with Wasp, and I had a
Ah,
friend that was sewing Velcro onto my back while I had it on because I there was no way for me to do it otherwise. I needed it to be placed specifically and
yeah.
perfectly, and I'm not going to ask my husband to pick up a needle and thread and do it for me because he's a photographer. That's his thing.
Like I don't trust you.
Not the sewing. Yeah. We have to talk about Cosplay Melee. I know that you had like no time whatsoever to make anything really.
No time.
Was there anything that you took away from that experience that you still apply to your builds today? Was there like a big lesson learned, or like a technique or something, or like just the ability to just be like, I just need to get this done?
Yeah, definitely. All the above.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you have con crunch and you go into con crunch mode and you're like, I have to finish the thing for the con, and you do, that's one thing. But Cosplay Melee was like con crunch times 100.
Oh my God, I
So
can't even imagine.
yeah, there were corners that had to be cut that you just never, or I would never have thought to cut corners like the way we had to, in order to complete something. So, in order to get like the big, I don't even know what I made, whatever that like round thing was that was on my back.
The big giant amazing
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
that huge thing. Like I didn't seal it before painting because there's no time,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
no time for sealing. There's no time for clear coat. You just like paint and go. And you know
Hmm.
what? From far away, nobody's gonna notice.
Right. Yeah, it's like the
Um,
5 foot rule plus like plus 5 more feet.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
On camera,
And
it's different.
yeah, and yeah. So like cutting a lot of corners that I never would have thought would have been okay, but maybe sometimes now when I'm trying to get shit done, I might cut that corner.
Yeah.
But like mostly just applying myself properly.
Yeah.
There's After that show, I realized how much I could get done as a human
Yeah.
in a short amount of time. Just never ever would have thought before.
Yeah.
So when I'm griping about not, doing like right now, I have 3.5 weeks to make something, and I'm like, oh my God, that's like no time. What am I gonna do? Like I'm not
You're like, I
really,
have 2 days.
yeah,
Yeah.
like yes, you can do it. You just
That's
have to
awesome.
apply yourself.
That's sort of like boot camp times 1,000 for
Uh-huh.
costuming.
It
Well, that's
really
really
is.
great. I mean, I would love to be able to tap into that confidence. Be like, I'm gonna dip into the confidence jar because I
You
need
can
some
do
right
it.
now, so I can get
You
through
can
this tough part of this of the build or whatever.
just have to put your headphones on, lock
Yeah.
yourself in the room, turn the music up, get some snacks, drinks, and like mentally say, I'm not leaving this room until this is done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to learn how to not needle the details so much when I'm in a
Yeah.
crunch. I think that is the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I have a hard time with. Just let it go. It does not need to have like this beautiful texture on it, and it nobody's going to look at the symmetry of that. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
yell at
mean,
myself so much.
it's so true. I'm exactly like you, and I get really like hyper focused on
Hmm.
details. And more often than not, Dari will always say like, forget about that. Look at the big picture, because at the end of the day, you could still be working on this one tiny little detail. And meanwhile, the whole thing's not finished. So either
Right.
you kind of get it done, or
Right.
no.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Oh,
matter if
that's
the paint color is like slightly off, because nobody's gonna have the reference there comparing the shade.
right. Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Like I have yet to see someone with a checklist, like like
Yeah,
grading people.
things that you did wrong.
Right. Although I do have a friend who, and I hope that he does this sometime. I want him to dress up as, or he's been thinking about dressing up as Tim Gunn. Am I saying that? Is that the right guy?
Yeah, Tim Gunn.
Um, yes, yes, and going around and just.
Yeah.
I like what you've done.
It's like
That's
your two shades are a little off, but you need to
yes. Was
work on
that
this.
really the right choice for that?
Think about what you've done here.
Right. I hope he does it just for the fun factor. That would be really great.
Yeah, yeah.
So you judge in a lot of contests,
Hmm.
or at least it seems like you do. I would seems like you're always posting about that. So in the SheProp group, I actually posted this question because somebody asked me if I was entering the contest with my goddess that I'm making right now, which I'm not. I am not entering the contest, you guys. But it got me thinking about original designed characters versus like a replica. And there was a lot of debate on whether or not that was not necessarily accepted, or it was more about whether like what the different rules are for
Hmm.
what you would be judged on. And
Right.
there was a lot of discussion about that. So I'm wondering, from someone who has judged a lot of costumes, what's your initial take? Because I know every single con is different, every judge is different, every purpose for a contest is different, countries are different.
Yeah.
What's been your experience?
Well, first and foremost, you have to follow the convention's requests in whatever they've required for the contest. So, for instance, Anime NYC, which we just had in November, I judged the masquerade, and original characters were not allowed. And I think actually a lot of cons, original characters are just not allowed. And the majority of the time, they won't necessarily turn people away who want to enter with an OG character. They'll allow them to come in and enter and walk across the stage, but we won't give them any marks. They'll just like kind of get to participate, and that's it. Especially for craftsmanship judging, because for craftsmanship, you're comparing what a person made to the character, and so if it's an original character, we can't really compare it.
Right.
Yeah, so
that was one of the big points that everyone was making. Like, there's just no reference. Like, you walk in, like, who's to say that you did your sketches and then you decided that you're going to change things, or it's a different process.
Exactly. So yeah, you kind of have to abide by the contests, the convention's rules. Obviously, if they take original characters, we'll judge them, whatever. My own personal beliefs are, like, I know that cosplay is cosplaying, is creating a character that you love, bringing it to life. And I think that can be literally anything. That could be a character from a movie or a video game, or a character that you create, because those characters were created by somebody.
Right. Yeah, so, exactly.
Pinkie Pie, Captain Marvel, those all came from somebody's head.
They're all original designs by someone.
Yeah. Just because you're not Stan Lee doesn't mean the character that you create can't be a something. But I think if somebody's competing, like maybe there could be an OG character specific contest or something. And you'd have to bring your own references for it.
Yeah.
Because I think that so many amazing costumes can be created from original characters too.
Right. Yeah. And I was listening to another of my favorite podcasts, Craft and Geek, which if you guys are listening, we need more episodes. Yes. I'm just saying. Please, Erica, Jackie. But they were talking to Spicy Thai Design, Sanit, and he works at Weta, and they were talking about, they asked him, like, what kind of advice would you give somebody who wants to maybe work for Weta or work for like a design house like that? And one of the things that stuck with me was that he said that you should do your own designs, your own character designs. It's nice when you can replicate something, but if you have the imagination and you can execute your own concepts, and you execute them well, then that is something that is valued more than, say, just copying processes and techniques. So I think that's something to really think about. Like, if you love an original design and it's something you want to do, there's a space for that. I mean, do whatever you want, do whatever speaks to you, but I think that there's value in the original
I totally
design.
agree. Yeah, that reminds me, like, I'm sure you got this at Pratt too, is and my art that I've recently been doing, my portraits, I'm like actually mentally arguing with myself about them, because in school as an artist, your professors drill into your heads that you're not supposed to recreate something that already exists. So a photograph, you're not supposed to copy a photograph. You're supposed to, put your own spin on it and draw something from life. Because why are you recreating something that's already there? It's no different. There's no creativity behind it. And you're right. I get absolute satisfaction and pleasure from recreating something down to the last little detail. That's like so satisfying. Yeah, it really, really is. But there's also this whole other section of life that's like the actual creative part. There's nothing creative really about copying something, but there's so much creativity behind coming up with your own character and design. And I think the cosplay community is like getting to be more accepting of that kind of stuff. And there's always the people who are going to be like, you know, you're not cosplaying, because that's like, for Cosplay Melee, one of the main like negative feedbacks I heard from the show, which there weren't many, but one was, is that even cosplaying? Like, how is it Cosplay Melee? Because none of those characters exist, but like there are characters that we made up.
It's costume and it's play. Yeah. It's cosplay. Yeah, that's exactly. that's the fundamental part of costuming and making something. Well, yeah, I think it's I'm glad to. I'm always happy to see original designs and mashups. I think those are really clever and cool. And it kind of, you can take two original, not original characters, but you know, canon characters and mix them together. And I have yet to do a mashup. Well, I kind of not really did a mashup. I did a Furiosa the Riveter mashup with my friend who did Ash the Riveter. So we were both Riveters one day, and that was really cool. But that was my one and only little foray, my toe dip it into.
I'm sure there will be more.
Yes. Especially after this experience I'm having with the goddesses. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, do you have any dream costumes, dream cosplays? If you had unlimited time, which for you would be like 4 weeks.
I know.
And do you have anything sitting on your table right now?
I do. Dream cosplays. Well, actually, Illidan from World of Warcraft was on my absolute dream list for a long time. And I think it just went so many years without making it, and I'm just not interested in making it anymore.
Yeah. I hear ya. Yeah. No, it just doesn't speak to you anymore. Yeah, that's fine.
That one has come and gone. But I'm really looking forward to someday, hopefully soon, making Valkyrie from Thor.
Yes.
Which I
do it.
You know, I'm sure I'll be like knocking on your door like, I need some help. Give me some pointers, please.
I am so there for you. Yes. I've actually been toying with the idea of remaking Hela because I love her so much and I miss her. I don't have her either. She's in Pennsylvania in Smooth-On, which is great. It's an honor, but I know, but yeah, my babies are gone. Yeah. Well, we are almost out of time.
That's okay.
I have one more question for you. If you could become one of the characters that you have created, original design or other, if you could just be that character, which character would you be?
Okay, I have two.
Okay.
And
you get two. Everyone else just got one. I'll give you two.
Okay. They're totally different, but one, because I feel like such a badass when I'm wearing her, and I've cosplayed her many times, many iterations, and I will continue cosplaying her because I just love her so much, is Wonder Woman.
Yes. Yes.
I need to do a Valkyrie version of her. Like, that's probably the name of that. Yeah.
Ooh, do that. Do it. Yes.
So good. So I love cosplaying Wonder Woman because she's like totally not my personality. She's a badass and she's like super smart and magical and can fly and do things and like, you know, yeah.
Well, wait a second here. No, let me stop you. So I heard that you're an actual unicorn, which is pretty badass. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of those same qualities.
Well, I would like to pretend that I do. Someday, maybe I'll be more like Wonder Woman. I like to feel like Wonder Woman when I'm wearing her.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then my other one is because she is totally my personality, and I love being her because I can just be myself. Is Pinkie Pie.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. That's right. So you can have day and night.
Yes.
Weekend and work week, weekend.
Works, you know.
That's great. That's awesome. I chose Wasp because I would love to fly. I would love to have the intelligence and the tech, and also the bank account. Hello, and the studio space for all of that, and the ants. I want all of that stuff. The worker ants.
Wow,
I want the minions.
Yeah.
I want all that stuff. And she's got really great hair too, so I'd love that.
Ah, she does have great hair.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's see. My other one. I'd love to be like a Hippolyta. I think because, like you were saying, like stepping into that character, into that costume. As soon as I put the crown on my head, I'm like, I feel like badass. I want to be this person all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Where can we find you online if we want to stalk all of your amazing stuff?
Okay, so are you ready? It's really hard.
Yes. Okay.
I am on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I don't know what else. Oh, I'm starting a Twitch.
Ooh, cool. Awesome.
All as Becka Noel.
Wait a second. That's going to be really hard to remember.
I know. Like so many words.
I'm going to write that down for everybody. Oh, well, that's very cool. Thank you again so much for chatting with me. I hope that we get to talk again sometime, maybe later this year after you do your whatever that project is that you're looking at that I can't see, like pointing behind me like it's behind me. It's not behind me. It's right in front of you.
This one?
Yeah. Ooh, it's so pretty.
This is boss shape.
I'm going to have to check out your YouTube videos. Do you do tutorials and stuff?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have some tutorials and like weird videos about peeps. I also love peeps.
Peeps, like the Easter peeps?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's something for me to go do when this is all done.
Achieve it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And again, I'm Beverly from Downen Creative Studios, and you can find me pretty much everywhere on Downen Creative Studios. And please, if you're listening, take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really is kind of nice to get nice notes from you guys. I love that so much. Yes, leave me some love notes. Well, maybe not some love notes.
Well,
don't be creepy about
some
it.
Fuzzy notes.
Fuzzy notes. I love that. So. All right. Well, until next time, you guys stay badass and don't stop creating. Bye.